I'm Natasha Ryan with Premier Risk Solutions. And normally we do this series, and Rich, you've actually been on our other series, Strong, Safe, and True. But I wanted to take kind of a mini hiatus and really get to know our own people. And Rich is one of our advisors, as well as being a security expert and leader in our industry. But today, you can tell me briefly what you do, but I want to hear about who you are, the core, and your roots, and your kids, and just on a totally personal level. So, Rich, briefly, maybe explain what you do for us here at PRS, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of who you are.
Sure. Well, my full-time job is out of Ohio, Cincinnati specifically, and I head up security and public safety for a 6-hospital system with 14,000 employees. And so that keeps me busy, but I do get some spare time. And for PRS, really what that boils down to me is the relationship that I have, with the founder, Mike Delamere. We've been associated with each other for 11 years now. Every moment has been a pleasure and productive. And so what I do is basically sit tight and wait for Mike to call on me and say, hey, Rich, I need an article, or can you help me here? And I'm ready to step up and do that. So really, we know the services that Mike and PRS provides, but to me, what it boils down to is Mike and the other associates as well. The business is simply an extension of the professionals they are.
Well, we appreciate you, and I know Mike does. All right, so Rich, where are you from? Where'd you grow up? Where are your roots?
Well, the accent says the East Coast, but that's not true.
Okay.
Born in Oakland, California, and I was in law enforcement outside of San Francisco for 30 years. From there, worked at Stanford for a couple of years, and then from there got into healthcare. On the personal side, I have 2 adult children. One is in Chicago, and one is currently up your way in Seattle right now, and she's a teacher on hiatus. And my son works with connecting individuals in need in Chicago with social services on the healthcare front.
Got it.
Both are adults, and but both still need some support from time to time, one way or the other.
As do we all, adult children.
I need
Rich, what kind of dad were you? I mean, you were law enforcement, so were you the strict and shotgun ready type dad, or were you the fun-loving teddy bear type, which I'm kind of imagining?
Yeah, I think both. And what I just did was, in law enforcement, when you come from that, first of all, I never tried to take home too much work, but sometimes the job demanded that, and it still does today. But that being said, I think what I tried to do, one thing that my daughter said to me that she appreciated was just remember the consequences. So an example is when they had the sleepover, all the girls, and they stay up all night, make a bunch of noise and everything else, and do not get any sleep. I didn't want to see crankiness and grumpiness all day long. So do what you're going to do, but just don't make me suffer through it the following day. So
that is so funny.
Yeah, and even now, which is nice, is when my son, from a business perspective, is dealing with something. He does a little supervision now. He feels comfortable to call me and say, "Hey, I'm dealing with this.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on it?" And sometimes I can add to it, sometimes I can't. He's finding his own way in a very good, positive way.
Well, that's great, though. He still reaches out to dad for advice, so it's gotta make you feel good.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish it'd be a little bit more, but you got to learn by your mistakes too, right? I know I did.
Yeah. So I just actually got banned by my best friend from having her little boy on sleepovers at Auntie Tashi's house because he comes home a zombie. And I said, exactly. I disagree, because to me, that is a sign of a successful sleepover.
Yeah, these are lifetime memories you have when you're young. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a great time. Popcorn, TV, gossip, all that stuff. It's all
totally. Okay, so your wife and you split your time between Montana and Reno. Tell me what you love about each place.
Well, that's a great question. Both of those locations are based on family. My dad is in Montana. So we
Okay.
were fortunate enough to purchase a house 2 miles from him, and my wife's very close with him. The rest of the family is down in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we bought this home in Reno probably about 6 years ago now. So it's close enough, a 3-hour drive. My brother's actually an hour and a half from here. We're close. So it just provides the opportunity for family. I think high desert is dramatically different than high country in Montana. I could say that.
100%. Yes.
Yeah. So we get a little bit of all of that. And I'd be concealing a secret if I didn't share that, unbeknownst to us, we got lucky. Not only is there no state income tax in Nevada, but there's no sales tax in Montana.
Look at you.
So we purchased stuff in Montana and then haul it down here to Nevada, whatever we can. So that's been an added bonus. But you know, the wildlife in Montana is spectacular.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Moose, bear, 100 of elk near our house. In fact, it was about 3 or 4 years ago, a little golf course near us. My dad helped trap a grizzly bear that was wandering golf course. So the high desert with Reno, you got a little. If you want to gamble, if you want to go out to dinner, if you want to go see a show, now that COVID hopefully is subsiding, there's a return to normalcy and fun. And I think that's what life should be all about.
So let's just pretend we don't live in a world of COVID and you can hop on a plane and go anywhere. What are you going to do? You can't pick Montana or Reno. You got to go outside of your two.
Well, so being Italian, I want to visit the homeland. That's where my grandfather came directly from. And so I'm planning to do that in May. Hopefully, you know, everything will subside. So that's the next plane trip, unless Mike wants me to go somewhere. Then happy to do that. Really looking forward. I've never been to Italy. I've been to Switzerland for business, but looking forward to going back there and eventually looking at perhaps going back there and perhaps living for a year and use that as kind of home base to explore Europe. So that's my dream. Hopefully I'm upright come May and we can realize that dream and go do that.
I love Italy. I've had the pleasure of being there twice. And I always said if I could live anywhere other than the States, and, you know, obviously I have 2 little kids, but it would be Italy. It feels as much at home. There's something about Italy that's majestic. And I love the food. So I tend to go where my stomach's happy too.
Yeah, well, you know, we can transition right into hobbies because right now as we're talking, I am cooking a lasagna from scratch.
Ooh.
Made the noodles myself, the sauce. My aunt and uncle are coming over, all Italian, and we're going to have a little homemade lasagna later on today.
Now, is that sauce a handed down family recipe?
No, like everybody else, I got it off the internet. But it comes out really good, and I got a pasta maker, so I make all the noodles myself. So
you're fancy.
Yeah, looking forward to that later on today. But look forward to getting the real deal back in Italy in May.
So, all right, let's talk food. What's your death row meal? You're on death row. You get your last choice. What are you picking?
Oh, boy, that is a good question.
My favorites.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's always, well, I was going to say there's always a soft place in my heart, but you got to be careful. But for a nice steak, having lived in Chicago and also San Francisco is famous for some steakhouses. Excuse me. I think that a good steak with a loaded mashed potato, maybe twice baked. I'm a dessert guy. Bacon's another hobby of mine. So I think that some nice dessert. One of my favorites, bananas Foster. So if I'm on death row, I'm asking for everything. We'll go.
Okay, you're getting the steak, the potato, and the dessert. I love it.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm just gonna ask you one more question because we're all busy. But what if you can think back to the moment that kind of like pulled at your heartstrings? What's been the hardest moment you've had in security?
You know, boy, another fantastic question. It goes hand in hand with law enforcement. And what's interesting about that is when you're younger and you're doing the job day in and day out, you have a tendency to compartmentalize. Security, especially healthcare security, is different than law enforcement. So as you spend more time out of law enforcement, that compartmentalization becomes less or more difficult to do. So for me, anything that pulls at the heartstrings, first of all, let's look at the positive side. A rescue,
Yeah,
maybe somebody's had a heart attack, CPR, something helps along those lines, then that's the positive side.
sure.
The downside is all the heartache, and specifically for me, children. There's many times in my career where it did not go well for a child. And once in a while you experience that in healthcare. A friend of ours works at Children's Hospital in Cincinnati, for example.
Hmm.
Unbelievable work. I consider myself a strong individual, but I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could do that. Yeah, day in and day out. So I admire and respect and love them for doing that. So for me, anything that involves a child, but we really hope for the happier side of things when we're involved in that.
Sure. All right. Well, Rich, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time, and thank you for being part of our Get to Know Our People series. And I will bid you farewell. All of you, please continue to come to premierrisksolutions.com for more videos just like this one. Have a great day, everyone. Bye, Rich.
Bye-bye.